Hello, everyone. We're going to get started. Welcome to the Almost Adults Zoom LGBT Short Play Festival, or series, I should say. I'm going to ask everyone at this time to please mute themselves and turn off their videos if they could. There we go. First and foremost, I wanted to say that today is National Coming Out Day. I just learned 2 hours ago, and perfect timing for our program today. So I think Coming Out Day means that everyone has to come out to somebody if you identify in the LGBTQ community, to someone that you haven't come out to yet. So I feel like I'm pretty much out to everybody, but I'm sure I can come up with somebody. So let's celebrate that, and with a wonderful lineup of 3 great short plays that we have. My name is Aaron Levitman. I'm the producer of the series and sometimes actor, writer, and director for the ongoing programs. I wanted to thank those that have continued to support us about getting the word out about our programs, which includes Theater Santa Fe, Rose Brevon and the Theater Lovers Club, the Unitarian Universalists of Santa Fe, Broadway World, and all of you that have continued to share our posts and emails and tagged us. This is how a program like this maintains, so thanks to all of you. As I mentioned, we do 3 short plays every program, including today. The total running time for the plays altogether is about 40 minutes. We will be doing a talk back with the playwrights after the programs, the 3 plays are over. So we encourage you to stick around for that. After the programs today, I will also be announcing the lineup for our series, our program in 2 weeks, which will be October 25th, also at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. If you do have friends or family members that were not able to attend today's live program, they can access the video of the performance today on the Almost Adults Facebook page after the fact. If for some reason they don't do Facebook, they can also go to our YouTube channel, which you can access by Googling Almost Adults and then my name, Aaron Levitman, and the videos will be posted up there as well. You can watch today's video and all the other programs from the last 4 months. With that, I will get started. Thank you to all of you again for joining us. I just wanted to say that we did get Zoom bombed during our last performance. I don't think we will today because I think everyone seems to be legit, but should that happen, just be prepared. I have every means to get rid of the unwanted audience member right away, and the cast has been alerted to it as well. But that being said, Zoom and myself are taking more safety measures to prevent that from happening. And so they've been doing a pretty good job so far. So I think we'll be good to go. That being said, if you do have friends that are trying to get on this call and I didn't admit them because it was halfway through the performance, which is frequently when Zoom bombers try to get on, just apologize and say that they can watch the video on our Facebook page or YouTube channel after the fact. You might also see a strange Zoom sign-in screen pop up, which happens off and on, so don't feel like you've been disconnected. It'll go away as soon as the play starts. It usually happens in between the programs, but hopefully not today. Thank you all. Without further ado, let's get started.
Sat on that park bench like bookend.
One Great Big Light, a one-act play by David Mauriello, directed by Matt Cogswell. Cast of characters: woman, played by Carolyn Wickwire, and man, played by Jeff Nell. Setting: a yard somewhere in rural Maine. The time: 2005, a sunny morning in early autumn. At Rise, woman sits on an old folding chair. On the ground beside her is a cardboard box large enough to hold 20 or so magazines. She reaches down for the box as if to pet it. Rises suddenly, picks up the box, changes her mind, sets the box down on the ground and sits again. A car engine is heard, grows louder, stops. Woman looks in direction of car, looks at box, not sure what to do. She starts to get up as man enters. Woman sits back, adopts a chip on her shoulder attitude, watches as man approaches. Man stops a few feet from woman. He looks at box, looks around.
This the yard sale? I saw you tacking your sign up on that tree. You put one tack right in the center and...
It was the only tack I had. It was holding up my calendar.
But you put it in the center of the sign.
So?
So your sign is a thin piece of paper. The sides folded into the middle. People aren't going to be able to read it.
You read it?
But I had to get out of my car. Why am I even wasting my time?
Massachusetts? What are you doing way up in Maine and so early in the day? You a leaf peeper? Season ain't in full yet.
I'm just driving.
Looking for yard sales. Well, why don't you look?
I really don't know why I stopped. I'm sorry.
He starts to exit.
Makes two of us. I really don't know why I'm selling these magazines. The Dream said they were worth something. I guess it meant they were worth something to me.
The Dream.
He's been dead 20 years. My son. He'd be about your age, 60 or so.
Yes.
Yes. What? 60, 61, 62? Huh. And they say women are bashful about their ages.
62.
Woman reaches into box, flips through magazines, pulls one out.
Do you know who this is?
Shows him cover of the magazine.
Yes. I mean, yes.
Who?
Steve Reeves, Mr. America, before he became famous for those Hercules movies.
Before they began showing the guy's privates. I saw a magazine at the checkout counter yesterday, could just about see the guy's cannon and his cannonballs too, right next to the dentine gum and those prayer books. You know, thought for the day. What kind of thought do you think they're gonna get? These magazines are all my son had when he was growing up, until he moved to Boston. Can't tell what Steve Reeves has under his bathing suit. With today's pictures, models might as well be nude. Even the Sears Roebuck ads are showing it all. Of course, that's how I knew my son was different.
Different?
Liked men. My husband called him a pansy. That was a word then. Now it's gay. But we still loved him. That bastard he took up in the city didn't. Used him until our son got sick, and then he sent him back to me. Half his life given to that guy. We were too poor for him to dirty his hands. But our Johnny was a beauty. Should have been in the movies, like Montgomery Clift.
AIDS?
Before they knew what it was. Wasting away disease. But I understood he had a different life down there. He belonged in the fancy apartments and restaurants. They had a place that overlooked the Charles River. I went a couple of times when his friend was away, and Johnny had come home too. Then his pa died, and it was right after that, I saw Johnny wasn't well.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you can have them, the magazines. I'm sorry I got the dream wrong, except about getting rid of him. I remember him going through the magazines. You okay?
Me? Yes. Oh, you mean, have I got? You think I'm gay?
You think the sun's out? I saw your eyes. Steve Reeves, the dreams of special boys, masculine beauty, and their imaginations like playing with yourself under the covers.
Pardon?
Oh, did I say that? I didn't mean play that way. Johnny invented a game called One Great Big Light, but it's played on the bed under the covers.
I used to make a tent out of the covers and pretend I was an explorer lost in the jungle or something like that.
Well, that's how it started. And then one day he said, Mom, put some more blankets over me. So I put another one over him and he'd say, nope, I can still see the stars. What he meant was that tiny dots of light still came through the texture of the cloth. And that's when he told me about the one great big light. See, we think stars are separate things shining down at us, but the world is under the covers. And beyond the covers is the one great big light. The stars are pieces of it.
That's very nice.
Here, why don't you sit?
She gets up.
He used to sit in this chair. We'd set it up on the back steps and look out at the blueberry bushes. We have a farm back there, not much, but keeps me out of the poorhouse. People come and pick them. Funny, now they find out that blueberries are very healthy and antioxidant, they call it, helps stop diseases like prostate cancer.
Man sinks into his chair.
Oh my God.
What?
Nothing.
The man holds his head in his hands. Woman reaches out a hand to him and pats him on the shoulders.
It's why I'm driving. I just didn't know what to do. So I got into the car and I just drove.
But why?
I've just been diagnosed with prostate cancer. I've been going to support groups, trying to figure out how best to treat it. But I'm angry. So angry.
And scared too.
She holds his hands. He grips tightly.
Yes.
I'm sorry. But don't be angry or scared. Nowadays they can deal with it. Johnny wasn't so lucky when he got sick. They didn't even know what it was.
Let you go. I can't believe this. Talking to a stranger, and I don't even know where I am. Some small town, country roads. I don't even know how to get home.
Oh, Al, don't go getting excited and dramatic the way you guys can do. You're coming inside for some blueberry pie. We'll get you antioxidating and then find a good doctor. I got jars and jars of blueberries and some frozen. Do you like the color blue?
Yes. Why?
Let's just say you'll be having strange looking stools. Now, if Johnny had met you instead of that other one, why, you'd be my son.
I'd like that. I never really knew my mother. She died when I was a baby.
Well, consider yourself adopted. Now, take the box of magazines to your car and then we'll go inside.
I can't take them.
Dream said I should get rid of them.
But it also said they were worth something.
They are. You, me, blueberry pie. Darn, I was hoping for enough, though, to maybe pick up a secondhand car. Mine's just about to shit the bed. Take him to your car and then come inside.
He reaches down for the box, kneels, fingers his way into the pile. He notices something. He pulls out a magazine that is wrapped in plastic.
I don't believe it. Captain Atlas.
What is it, darling?
A comic. It was supposed to rival Batman and Superman. But it just flopped. But this is, God, in mint condition. Still has its original cover and all the promotional material.
Well, Jake's used cars as an 88 Chevy with a pie and get him down to like 300, and I got about 200 saved.
How would you like a brand new Buick or a Cadillac?
Holy Jesus, you mean it?
Give or take a few grand.
She clutches the chair and kisses it.
He sat in this chair. I'd help him into it. We loved just sitting out back, listening to the birds, watching the small flowers turn into blueberries. I had a towel with me to wipe his mouth. And that last time he looked at me, he had green eyes. And he said, Mom, it's real. The one great big light is real. And that's where I'm going, and I'll wait for you.
Man kneels next to her and hugs her, kissing her gently on the head. Lights out. End of play. Perseids, a 10-minute play by Andra Laine Hunter, directed by Nicol Moeller. Characters: Lorelei, played by Megan Greener, and Jacqueline, played by Nicol Moeller. Setting: 2020, late July during the Perseid meteor showers. Lorelei sits in her backyard to watch the shooting stars. Jacqueline is on the balcony of her apartment. They sit together via Zoom. It's dusky dark and gets darker as time progresses. Lorelei gazes skyward. Jacqueline gazes at Lorelei.
So, Lorelei, when will it happen?
Technically, it's already happening. It just has to get dark enough for us to see it.
And why does it happen the same time every year? That doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't it just happen all the time? Is it magic? It's magic, isn't it?
It's not magic. So there's this comet, the Swift Tuttle, and
Oh, that sounds very British. Good evening, Mr. Swift Tuttle. Might I bring you a crumpet? Could I show you to the loo? Perhaps you'd like a biscuit, by which I mean cookie, of course, to go with your tea.
Yep, they were both American. Swift and Tuttle, they both discovered it, the comet, but not together, just at the same time, I think. So it got both their names, to be fair.
That's kind of disappointing.
Sorry.
I wanted it to be a British thing.
Well, there's no astronomy police around, so just pretend I didn't say anything.
I'll try, but that part's kind of ruined now.
Oh, sorry. I don't want it to be ruined.
I'll live. It's okay. Lorelai, it's totally okay. I'm just messing with you.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Sorry.
So, why do you know all of this about Swift Ta'u?
I look things up. I mean, you know, at one point in time, if you wanted to know something your parents didn't know, you had to like go to the library to find a book or pull out an encyclopedia or something. You know, it was work to find things out back then. You had to earn your knowledge like Boy Scout badges. But now you can carry around access to pretty much the sum total of human knowledge right in your back pocket. It fits in the palm of your hand. It's criminal now, I think, not to look up something that you want to know.
Principles of the pursuit of knowledge.
Principles are good. Are you still in pursuit?
Of knowledge?
I mean, do you still want to know about the meteor shower? I was going to tell you why it happens.
Oh, yeah. We still haven't seen anything.
Well, it's really not that dark yet.
Tell me the knowledge then, while we wait for it to get dark.
Okay. So there's this comet, the Swift Ta'u, as it goes along on its
Can you tell it in a British accent?
Yeah, actually, wait, seriously?
Please. Pretty please with a shooting star on top. Please.
Okay. I'll try. Just for you. Oh man. Okay. So of course there's the comet Swift Ta'u, and it goes along on its orbit, spewing debris about behind it. And this time every year, mid-July to mid-August, the Earth is passing through its orbit. We are passing through the comet's orbit. So we're right in its debris trail. It spits off little chunks of itself as it goes, and the debris, it hits us, the atmosphere at like, I can't remember, like really, really fast speeds.
Fast speeds. It's totally better with the British accent.
Fast speeds. And the chunks of the comet burn up in our atmosphere. Luckily, instead of hitting the land.
Now neither sound right. I don't know.
Anyway, the debris burning through the atmosphere makes shooting stars.
Really?
Yeah, that's it. That's why it happens.
Not magic?
No. Well, I mean, not in the sense that it's wizards fighting each other with wands or baby dragons practicing breathing fire. I know. Or but it's still kind of magical to me.
Yeah. It totally is. If it will ever happen. Wait, are they getting brighter? Is it just me or the star is getting brighter?
Yeah, it's getting darker. So yeah, the stars are getting brighter.
This is so cool. Where should I look?
Well, they call it the Perseids because it appears as if the meteorites originate from the constellation Perseus. So.
But I'm guessing they don't actually originate from there?
No, not really. The stars in the constellation are like super, super, super far away, and the comet is much closer. But I think they call it shooting. They think the shooting stars radiate from Perseus.
So where should I look?
Oh. So for you, I think look towards downtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But they can radiate out in any direction. So really just watch with soft focus, like out of the corner of your eye.
Who knew watching shooting stars would be so complicated?
I didn't mean to make it complicated.
Complicated isn't bad, Lorelai.
Oh. Oh. Mm. Do you think complicated is good?
Depends on the particular complication. Is there a complication you had in mind, Lorelai?
Oh my God!
What?
Did you see that?
No!
It
I
had
missed
a
it!
big orange tail. It was enormous.
The very first one?
Oh, it was beautiful. I tell me you saw that.
I'm so bummed.
It's all right. There'll be more. There'll be loads more.
I was looking at you though, so that wasn't too bad.
Oh. Really?
Nerds are cool now. Didn't you know?
You think I'm a nerd?
I mean, yeah. But in a good way, in a great way.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I totally think being called a nerd is a compliment. Mm-hmm.
Principles of the pursuit of knowledge.
Do you think I'm ridiculous?
No, God, no. I think you're awesome.
Oh. Thanks. You know, Jacqueline, there can be principles of other things too, you know.
Like what?
Anything? Everything.
Yeah, I know. Of course, there are lots of principles. But what were you thinking of specifically when you made that comment?
I was thinking of the principles of attraction.
Attraction. Oh. Do tell.
Well, you know, in science.
Oh, so this is science?
Of course. What were you thinking?
Never mind me.
So if you get an object like a balloon, for example, all charged up.
All charged up.
Are you gonna let me talk?
By all means.
So, if you get a balloon all charged up, like by rubbing it on someone's head, say, all charged up with extra electrons, that's the charge, the extra electrons. And then all those unstable atoms, because they have too many electrons, they attract other objects that need some electrons.
Like hair? Like how balloons make your hair stand up?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Or if you tear up little pieces of paper and they rise up toward the balloon too, or other balloons, you know. Well, you've been to birthday parties.
Attraction, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first principle that came to your mind while we're hanging out. Interesting. Some might even say romantic.
I'm glad you find science romantic.
I do. Oh, I do. But just to make sure I understand this, if one of us, say you, just as a totally random example, had extra electrons, I might find myself, through no fault of my own, being pulled toward you powerfully and inexplicably?
Well, yes. Except it wouldn't be inexplicable because the extra electrons would explain it.
Right. The explanatory electrons. Well, listen, I've been meaning to tell you, I've been diagnosed recently with a really bad case of electron shortage. And so I find myself always moving toward people who seem charged.
Oh,
Can't help it.
it's totally out of your control.
Totally. Oh my God. Did you see that? Wow. Just wow. Wow. It was so long and sparkly. It trailed all the way across the sky.
That
I
one.
can't believe that.
Well, I was looking at you, so that wasn't too bad.
Oh. But was it good?
It was better than good. It was complicated and scientific and charged.
Lorelai, you said the comet is leaving behind pieces of itself in its trail, and they burn up in the atmosphere.
The burning pieces are the shooting stars.
I think maybe I'm charged and you're taking up my electrons.
Do tell.
Like I'm leaving behind some little pieces of myself burning up in the atmosphere of you.
I think I feel them.
I needed to let go of some electrons and let them find the atoms that needed them.
My atoms.
Yeah. Your atoms needed my electrons.
I think that makes a lot of sense in a really nerdy way.
Hey!
Don't worry, it's cool to be a nerd now. Plus, your electrons make me feel really stable, baby. Oh my God!
Yes! I saw it! Wow. It was really beautiful. It was like looking at you.
Lights fade to black. End of play.
It's the worst thing I've seen in like months.
The Last Great Act of Mankind by Scott Sickles. Setting: a cabin overlooking the southern Norwegian coast. At rise, Benno gravely looks out the window into the night sky. He's covered in sweat and only wears his boxer shorts. The sound of rummaging can be heard from off stage.
Do you see it yet?
Not yet.
Oh, God, it's hot. Oh,
Well, yeah,
why don't we have an air conditioner?
it's Norway. Oh, why don't you just take off your t-shirt?
Body shame.
Even now?
Always. This is a nightmare. This is a fucking nightmare. I mean, all I wanted to do was get away, but what does it matter what I wanted? Everybody wanted something. We all wanted something else from this day besides, oh my God!
Lars!
What?
Will you stop? Please, could you just calm down for a second?
A giant meteor has crashed into the ocean, causing massive tsunamis and setting the atmosphere on fire. So everyone who hasn't already drowned is going to be incinerated, which means we're going to be dead in a matter of hours or minutes. And you want me to
Calm the
just...
fuck down? Yes.
How? How am I supposed to... How are you doing that? You are so relaxed.
And do you know why?
If I did, I wouldn't have just asked.
Because you are panicking literally enough for both of us. You don't think I want to freak out? I do, but I can't. Because while we're facing the specter of imminent death, you are co-opting all the emotion in the room.
Let's have sex.
Lars.
Why not? It'll take our minds off of the impending meteor-geddon scenario, and we'll go out doing something enjoyable.
I'm not gonna enjoy it.
Ouch.
I don't operate well under pressure, and like with the whole we're about to die thing on top of the heat and the humidity. It's
Yeah, I
just,
can work with that.
I'm sure you can. It's just, I don't know how much time we have left, and I hate starting things I can't finish.
Yeah, we can make it a quickie.
I don't really do quickies. I nothing against them. My body just, just doesn't work that way.
Benno, we are about to die. Not just us. All of life on Earth is about to be extinguished, and yet you...
Extinguished?
Yes, and yet you are using every excuse to just...
It implies that the fires are being put out.
Yes, it is the metaphorical fire. It's the fire given to humanity by Prometheus.
Yeah, even so, it's the opposite of what's happening.
Fine! Incinerated, immolated, burned. Jesus, if you don't want to do it, just say so. You don't have to waste what may be our very last conversation by using a semantic argument that we just want to avoid.
Okay, I don't want to have sex with you.
See? Was that so hard?
Sorry, I didn't mean for that to be...
I know you're not into me. Believe it or not, despite the flirtations, which are kind of mutual, by the way, I understand that, but I thought since these are the final moments of mankind's existence...
Would it kill you to say humankind?
Yes, it would. Because the etymology of the word mankind comes from a Proto-Germanic term that is gender neutral, and you know that. And you're doing it again! You know how I felt about you this entire time, that I have been, if not in love, then in like and in lust enough with the whole world ending, you might be a little more open to reciprocating.
Well, I think it's a little, I don't know, not great that you're using the impending apocalypse to get laid one last time.
This is not about getting laid. This is about the final act of two people who care about each other. I assume you care about me?
Of course I care, just not.
I know. I'm not at all confused about your stance on this matter. I don't even get confused when you have a glass of wine or whatever, and you get all cuddly and affectionate. You have never, ever led me on. But I also understand that in the years that we've known each other, you've had both girlfriends and boyfriends. I also know that those relationships have come and gone, but the one who is always, always here is me. The world is ending, and I am here. And I know, God, I know that doesn't entitle me to anything. Just like I know you being attracted to a broad range of people does not mean you're attracted to everybody. But do you have any idea how much it sucks for the one person you're truly into to have such a vast spectrum of attraction that still doesn't include you?
Actually, I do.
Great. Empathy. Then I hope you'll also understand that despite my abruptness of suggestion that I didn't just want to fuck you, at the end of everything, I wanted to show you physically, show you, body and soul, how much you mean to me, because As much as you probably prefer to spend these last minutes of your life with someone else, there is no one on earth I'd rather be with right here and now. And I know that's not fair.
And I love you for saying so.
Fuck you, you love me.
I mean it. I do, but even so,
Yeah, I know. I've already given up on the dream. Thanks. You're welcome. Although,
yeah,
would you consider a compromise? Like, maybe, perhaps, a hug?
come here.
They embrace. You should be able to hear the slap of sweaty skin when they come together. They try, nay, struggle to find a comfortable position. It's not working.
Lars.
Yeah, this is
Moist. They separate.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Oh, dear God, we stink.
Oh, God, it's like a perfumery lost a battle to a rendering plant. Oh, God, yeah, that was the worst.
I have a towel right over,
Oh, God. Oh, God, it's soaked.
Oh, I was sitting on it.
Oh, you know what's funny? Right now, I'm thinking of all of those times I said that meteor can't hit us fast enough. And now that it has...
It's still fucking late.
Exactly.
Lars,
Oh, yeah.
it's not late anymore.
Oh. There it is.
I guess this is it.
I guess so.
Benno turns to Lars, who stares out the window.
Hey,
Lars turns to face him.
how about if I kissed you?
I don't want your pity.
As they lean in for the kiss, an emergency broadcast chime goes off from their phones.
What does it say?
The fire in the atmosphere caused by the meteor that crashed into the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Mexico appears to be burning itself out. There is no expectation of survivors on the North and South American continents or on the island nations of the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, including New Zealand. Other areas catastrophically affected include the eastern coast of Asia and Australia, significant areas in both Western Africa and Western Europe, including I can't read anymore.
Lars takes Benno's phone from him and sets it aside. Benno looks out the window at the distant fire. Lars stands beside him.
Maybe we should head east. To Stockholm. Maybe all the way to Helsinki if we can.
Yeah.
They don't move.
Do you think it'll die out before it gets here?
I don't know. Here's hoping.
Benno puts his arm around Lars and gives him a firm, affectionate, brotherly kiss on the side of his head. Lars slides his arm around Benno's waist, and they watch the fire. Lights fade. End of play.
Karen, you're muted.
Thank you. What I was saying was that I had all this lovely music that I was playing that you couldn't hear because I remained muted. So but I'm glad you're all still here. So thank you, Matt, for that. And we would love to invite everyone to turn their video on if you'd like to join us in the Q&A. And I would like to give do an unofficial curtain call to thank all of our wonderful actors and directors for participating today. That includes Carolyn Wickwire, Jeff Nell, Nicol Moeller, Megan Greener, Alyssa Simon, Ken McGraw, Rob Maitner, and of course our wonderful directors, Jonathan Libman and Matt Cogswell and Nicol Moeller. Thank you, everyone. Great work today. Before we start the Q&A, I just want to announce our program for 2 weeks from today. We have 3 more wonderful plays, including Repetition by Doug DeVita from New York City, directed by Brad Howard, who lives in Albuquerque, with BJ Stokey in Santa Fe, Juliana Lucia in Chicago, Illinois, and 1 additional cast member soon to be announced. Last Exit by Philip Middleton Williams, who lives in Florida, directed by Matt Cogswell in Clinton, Massachusetts, with Rob Salerno in Los Angeles, and myself here in Santa Fe. And finally, X, Y, and Z by Emma Myers in Santa Fe, New Mexico, directed by Andra Laine Hunter in Dallas, Texas. And that cast features Rachel Wilson, Carmen Gallegos, Elizabeth Rich, Margaret Lyman, and myself. We hope to see you 2 weeks from today. Before we get started, I just wanted to say that when we do the Q&A, we're going to go through the 3 plays in the order that they were performed. And I'm going to talk for a bit with the playwrights, the actors and directors that are able to stay on. And if you do have questions, the best way to do it is to use the hand raise function. If you click on participants, you'll see an opportunity to click raise hand. I'll then see you and call on you. We're going to ask that we keep the questions to the plays themselves. If you have questions about the series itself or about the state of theater during the pandemic or anything else, we're going to hold those to the very end. If we have time, we'll be able to address those. So I would like to bring on David Mauriello. David, are you here? Did he not make it?
Oh.
He was so looking forward to it.
I don't see his name.
Yeah, I did
I'm
see
here.
a date. You are here.
Oh, good.
Come out
Can
wherever
you hear
you
me?
are. Yeah, can you turn your video on?
Oh, my name is up there.
Okay. Well, we want to see you too. So I'm going to turn it on for you and see. If not, we'll just have to hear your beautiful voice instead. David, thank you so much for sending us this
Thank
place.
you.
Yeah. And this was written in, was it 2004, 2005?
Right.
Interesting though, for me, the play is so relevant because it's, dealing with the connections between these human beings who are perfect strangers to each other, who help each other in their lives in this very amazing moment. And we're seeing a lot of that right now with the pandemic, that a lot of people are relying on the kindness of strangers and finding these connections between people that are helping other people in a time of need who don't necessarily know each other, but they're sort of reaching out. And I feel like this play is a wonderful example of the connections that we can have at random with people that change our lives. Do you want to comment on that at all, or anything else that you want to say about, oh, before you do that, David, I'd like to read your bio, which I forgot to do. David's plays 10 Minutes and Just Say Love were both nominees in the Best Original Script category by the Spotlight on the Awards in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And this play was a finalist in New Play Festivals and is included in the Eileen Heckert Senior Drama Archives at the Lawrence and Lee Theater Research Institute in Columbus State University. He has many other great credentials. He's the author of the book Reminders of Home, a collection of inspirational writing. David, anything you want to say about my comments or anything about why you wrote this play?
Well, first I want to thank
There you are. Yeah.
for getting back in touch with me for
Yes.
after 20 years.
Yes, I know.
We knew each other in Ports.
Provincetown.
Where did we know each other?
It was Provincetown, yeah.
yeah.
We were both involved in the
Well-
Provincetown Theater Company at the time.
My hat is off to Caroline and Jeff. You did such a wonderful job. Caroline, you really captured this woman the way I saw it as I was writing it. And Jeff, that's not an easy part to play, to convey the emotional turbulence they're going through. So I say to the director, congratulations. It's top notch all the way, top notch all the way.
I love when the playwrights are happy. That makes me happy. I like when
I'm
everyone's
very
happy,
happy.
but particularly the playwrights. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could import them into Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and have them do it there.
Well, there's always Zoom. Still, will be with us for a while. Looking at the play now from when you wrote it in 2005, do you feel any differently about it, seeing it in today's world?
Well, some of the history is out of date, but
That's why we kept it in that time in 2005.
yeah, the director made some good choices.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Yeah. Whenever this play has been done, people like it, but this cast, I think, is superlative.
They are wonderful.
Yeah. Matt, do you want to talk about your connection to this play when I sent it to you?
You sent it to me, and what really appealed to me was the vulnerability that both these characters had in such a short moment. They are both characters that are needing some kind of connection that they can't find, and they surprisingly find it in one another. And
Matt, you're frozen in time.
Live. Am I?
Yeah, you're okay now. You're back.
Of course I am. Am I voguing?
Yeah,
All right. Voguing a little bit. But it's just a beautiful script, David. So thank you for the opportunity. And these actors are so wonderful. That I had to do
Listen, if you ever want to do it again, let me know.
Okay.
Matt.
Awesome.
You'll have a chance to do it. Yeah.
I'll be
Carolyn, tell me how you felt about the character.
I thought it was amazing how how richly the character was fleshed out just in the course of these short pages. From the first time I read it, she was full rounded, her backstory was there. Everything I really needed was in the script to help me understand and identify with this woman.
Very good. I really love what you did with it. And
I'm sorry.
with Jeff. I really admired what you did with the character, and Jeff also.
Thank you. It was there in the script, and with a few tweaks by our wonderful director.
Oh, someone's cuckoo clock is going. Jeff and I have known each other for a number of years and have worked together before. Carolyn, I saw in a production of Marjorie Prime at the Santa Fe Playhouse. And when I started posting about this series, about a few weeks before that, I was talking to a friend of mine that also teaches film like I do. And we were talking about this movie we loved called Eye of God that was made in the 90s. And my friend shows it in his class in independent film every year. Then about a week later, I got an email from Carolyn with her resume, and she was in that movie. And it's not a well-known film. Sadly, I don't think.
But I said I was in it for about 10 seconds, but I was in it with Al Holbrook. So.
Well, there you go. Not many of us can claim that. So.
That's true.
Do we have any questions about David's play? If you can use the raise hand function, great. Or if you want to try to raise your hand, I'll go through and scroll and see if I see anyone. Okay. David, thank you so much. I hope
thank you.
To be in touch.
Hey, keep in touch, will you?
And I love your doll.
Keep in touch.
Is that a Madame Alexander doll in the background?
What?
I was looking at your doll in behind, and I was just wondering what kind of doll it was.
Yeah, those were my sister-in-laws who's passed.
Sister-in-law. Okay. Well, thank you, David. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you. Keep in touch, Aaron.
Oh, absolutely, and we definitely will.
Okay. Thank you for doing this series. It's
Yes.
really
No, it's been a pleasure, and I hope we'll be able to keep it up. We're going to now introduce Andra Laine Hunter and her play Perseids. Andra earned a BFA in theater studies from SMU with a double concentration in playwriting and directing, graduating magna cum laude. She is currently an MFA in playwriting candidate at Spalding University. Her original plays have been performed or are going to be performed in Dallas, Memphis, Austin, and at theaters around Dallas-Fort Worth. She is the founder and artistic director of the Linden Grove Theater Company and is dedicated to providing excellent theatrical experiences for the artists and audiences of today and the future. Andra, great to have you back. Andra's been involved as a director as well in this series.
Thank you. It's so great to be back.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that's so special about this play is your use of language in it. There are all these layered meanings in the dialogue between these two women, the way that they're communicating with each other. And I love the way that you use the concept of the look, which comes up a lot, to communicate both observation and also attraction and intimacy. The way that the look comes up frequently. And I'm just curious if you, one thing, what is your connection with the Perseids? Or if you have one.
Yeah, actually I do. We have been very dedicated to quarantine, but in August, we went down to South Texas, which is, I guess, maybe not technically a desert, but it's super hot, super dry, and not very populated. So it's a great place to see the stars. And it just so happens that we were there during the Perseid meteor shower. And actually, there was a kid who said something about swift tuttle causes the meteor shower, which I didn't know. And my instant reaction was, that sounds really British.
Okay.
That was, and then just the experience of laying down on the banks of the Nueces River under just this sky that you can't imagine, just this glittering, glistening sky, just filled with stars. It was a very powerful and evocative, experience to see that, to witness it, and to see these huge, long trailing meteorites going across the sky. So I went home and I looked it up and I learned about what causes it to happen. And that's the play. That's how the play came about.
And so how did you select these particular characters to tell the story?
Well, I write, everything comes from some kind of image for me. Like it start, well, I mean, so there's the mention of swift tuttle, and then there was just this image of these two women watching this meteor shower together. And I don't really ever go into any play with a plan, which is not perhaps smart, but that's the way it works for me. And so, as I went along, I realized who they were. I realized that they have these feelings for each other that they haven't voiced before, and that they're out there in this just magic cloak of night, and the stars are shining, and they're seeing these meteorites, and it gives them permission to fall in love with each other.
It's a great choice of words, permission. But before we talk to Nicol and Megan, anything else you wanted to say about why you wrote this play? This is the first time it's been read, correct?
It is. This is the first time it's been read. And yeah. I have to say that Nicol and Megan, ladies, oh my goodness, you are amazing. Erin, thank you so much for finding Nicol, and Nicol, thank you for casting yourself, and Megan, you guys were amazing. It was, I don't know, it was delightful to me to sit there and watch you. I hope other people felt that way as well. But ladies, just thank you. And Erin, just thank you so much for this amazing experience.
I would say Nicol sort of found me, and then Megan and Nicol had worked together before. And Nicol and Megan, one of the things I was thinking a lot about in watching your performance, and I was at one of your rehearsals, I had an acting teacher years ago that kept saying, you have to work really hard to get the spontaneity into your play. And I thought, well, that doesn't make sense. If you work too hard, you're going to get tired of it, and then it'll be like not spontaneous. But then a few years ago, I worked on a play where I did that, and I got what she meant. And I know you two rehearsed this a lot, and it really showed, because it felt like, I felt like I wasn't really watching a play. I was just watching two people enact this moment together. live the moment. And so Nicole, as director and actor, I know you responded very positively when I sent it to you, and I'm just curious about how you connected to the material initially.
Thank you. Thank you for all those kind and very beautiful compliments. I initially I wrote a play recently that I submitted for consideration. And when Aaron reached out, he sort of gave me an opportunity, and thank you for that, because this has been a really wonderful experience all around. And I just feel so lucky that I got to work with Megan, because she is one of my favorite people ever. But also, yeah, so to answer your question, I read the play, and when there's good writing, you know it. Even if you don't necessarily have a skill set around knowing these things, even if you're not a trained actor or a director or a writer, right? It lands on you and it feels personal. And yeah, I had that experience with this play immediately. And then of course, to your point earlier, it's very poetic. Her language is very poetic and very beautiful and very layered. And these characters felt to me like very real people that were having a real moment in time. And I think that was my initial connection. It felt very universal, what they were experiencing. Yes, I'm gay, and yes, these characters are gay. And so that made it sort of easier for me to maybe have a direct connection to them. But when I called Megan in, she said the same thing. This is universal. We've all felt this. And Andra so beautifully captured that in a very easy and succinct way. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Megan, what about for you? I know you kind of came into this through Nicole. So how did you connect with the character you were playing?
Yeah, it was exactly that. When Nicole sent me the script, and I was reading it for the first time, I could sort of feel the heat and the blushing come to my cheeks a little bit, because it's that really, what I got was that really, really delicious sort of limbo moment when you've been with somebody, whether it's a friendship or you're seeing them very casually, but it's the vibes on both ends are good and the words haven't been officially said yet, but it's that really, really delicious part of it. And that's what I felt reading the script. And I was like, oh, I'd love to live that out, because I know what that is. So.
Do we have any questions for Andra, Megan, or Nicole, or comments? Oh, Rose. I'm gonna try to unmute you. I know it didn't succeed last time, but let's give it a second. Here we go.
Ah, okay. Well, I really certainly loved seeing the two women involved, but I thought I would have liked to see a picture of what they were talking about. And Andrea, did you take a picture when you were down actually watching this event?
I tried to take some pictures, but my phone camera just wasn't really good enough to capture the stars, and the actual shooting stars, the meteorites. I try to convey this in the play when Lorelai says they can really come from anywhere, and they do. Like I would be looking one way, and my son would be like, "Oh my gosh, did you see that?" And I would have missed it. But eventually we did. But they just flash across the sky for just a second. So no, I don't have any good pictures. But I would love to have a backdrop, like what you're talking about. I would love to have a backdrop of like a video from the Perseids, so that the audience can experience what the characters are experiencing.
But you did describe it very well. So that's
thank you.
Partly what made me want so much more to see it.
Well, it happens every year. So next summer, just
set in your
find
calendar.
a dark place.
Yeah.
And
it's very.
What was that?
The area you talked about, it being hot and dry and nothing around. I'm not so sure about going there, but
there's other places. Any nice country setting, you know, without too many city lights, you should be able to see it from late July into August is when it happens.
Great. Next year.
Next year, yes.
Yeah. next
Okay.
year.
Well, we're going to move on to the final play. Thank you so much, the three of you. We hope to see you back.
Thank you.
And I know Andrew will be directing the next play in 2 weeks. Scott Sickles, The Last Great Act of Mankind. Scott has received 5 consecutive Writers Guild of America awards for the daytime serial General Hospital, as well as 7 Emmy nominations. He is also currently the head writer for Pride, the series season 3. For more than 30 years, his plays have been performed in New York City, his native Pittsburgh, across the United States, internationally in Canada, Australia, the UK, Hungary, Singapore, Indonesia, Lebanon. He also received the 2006 New York Innovative Theater Award for Outstanding Original Full-Length Script and was a finalist for the 2018 Lambda Literary Award for LGBTQ drama. He garnered the '99 Beverly Hills Theater Guild Julie Harris Playwriting Award and many others. Thank you so much, Scott. And I know you're here because I saw you earlier. Hi, Scott.
Hello.
So this is obviously our Meteor program for almost adults. And, you know, it's interesting when we have 2 plays like this that are, you know, about different genders and how differently they relate to each other, different gender identities in terms of sexuality. And we saw the difference between your play and Andra's play. I think one of the things that stood out for me when I read your play first was, you know, I think a lot of us are in this place of thinking about the end of the world or thinking about some kind of huge crisis, not just because of COVID, but climate change, politics, you know, everything. And yet you're dealing, you know, I think it causes us to think, what would we do in our final moments? And I certainly was thinking about it watching your play this time. And I'm just curious if that was your inspiration for writing it or if there was some other reason.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely part of it. I'm inspired by a lot of film that I see, and this actually, the roots for this play were actually 2 separate movies. One, which is a terrific film called These Final Hours, which is about the same sort of situation. The meteor hits, and they have like people have 20, you know, on the other side of the earth have about 24 hours before the atmosphere is consumed, and what are they going to do? And it's a terrific little film, and I wanted to sort of take that premise and sort of put it with characters more akin to people I relate to, as opposed to these. It's about sort of like Australian party animals at the end of the world. And so that's not who I'm hanging with. These guys are, but also one of my favorite films from about 20 years ago is called Last Night. It's a Canadian film about the last 6 hours before the end of the world. Yeah, and it's
I saw it.
Yeah, it's
a
my
great
very
movie.
favorites. Yeah, and it really is very thematically about what you do, what different people are doing. But there's a line in there that also inspired this play where there are 2 guys together and they're both straight, but one of them kind of wants to experience what it's like to have sex with another dude, and he propositions his friend, and his friend says, I really don't want to risk having bad sex today. And I'm thinking, that's what someone's going to say to me in this circumstance when the atmosphere is on fire. So I'm just like, okay, great. And I kind of ran with it. So they these characters came to me. I also have written, I've written a lot of gay characters, gay male characters, but only recently did I start writing more bisexual characters and more gender fluid characters as well. But so I wanted, you know, there's all this, there for a long time there was a joke about, like, you know, when you're like when you're a woman and your bisexual husband leaves you for another woman, that's even worse than when they leave you for another man. It's just like, yeah. And you know, and so I was thinking, you know, like, what if there's this one character who's deeply, you know, in love with this other person, or who's deeply in like with this other person, who, you know, has that, like he says, this vast range of attraction that just stops where his friend is.
Well, and it's interesting because it's about, you know, this relationship, like, and it could be happening at another point in time also. You know, it's like a lot of the same issues that, you know, men are facing with each other about their own sexuality in a couple, you know, comes out in this. And that's why I think it's so relatable, you know, regardless of your gender identity orientation. I think that conflict is, you know, relatable to many of us, I would think. I just speak from, but, you know, I think that, you know, that line where Lars says, you know, it's not about getting laid, and my response was, oh yes it is, you know. But you know, but again, it's a very, I'm sort of giving a generalization. It feels like it's a sort of male response, and it's very much dealing with that sort of masculine sexuality, which could relate to any orientation. Or
it is, and this play in particular, I really wanted to write something that dealt with body image and guys who were like not, you know, Abercrombie and Fitch models, and who and one of whom, Benno, is very comfortable with his body, and then there's Lars who you know, is, you know, it's 100 degrees and he's still going to have a t-shirt on until it's too disgusting to wear. So, yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear from Jonathan, our director. Jonathan.
Hey, let me, am I unmuted?
You are unmuted. We can hear you perfectly.
Or horrible for everybody. I'm sorry.
No, it's a fun thing. Great to finally meet you. And secondly, wonderful job. And I'm looking forward to talking to your actors. What was your connection to this play when I sent it to you?
Like the other directors and actors as well. It just sort of popped right off the page.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think what stuck with me is somebody or everybody's in need of a hug. And then sort of what happens when you actually get that hug. And, you know, you can't necessarily really plan for it. And there was something about just somebody who's such a devoted friend. And, you know, it's sort of like a clash between two people, and they have rights and they have needs, and they are stuck together, and they're running out of time. And I found it tragic, and then, you know, Scott writes so well, so it's comedic at the same time. You feel bad for laughing. But it was a pleasure to get this cooking.
Well, I think that phrase that you said, running out of time, is really crucial, because it's what sort of, you know, amplifies the play's, you know, urgency, and makes us think, what would we be doing if we were in a rush and we're like, we have to get everything done before the end of the world happens. And it creates a real drive, I think, for the story. So it was certainly very important. I'd love to talk to your actors. You guys really gave it your all, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Do both of you want to talk about what it was? I know the process was very quick. We just had a few days, and I just wanted to know how you connected to the parts you were playing. Rob, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this is not my first time at the Scott Sickles rodeo. I
like how you put that. Yes,
I have been invited into other rooms where Scott has allowed me to say his words, and it's always a wonderful experience. And reading it, I was in New York on 9/11, and I won't overshare too much, but I could very much relate to this exact situation. There was a rooftop dalliance that came out strictly from the fact that we were like, is the world ending? If it's ending, I want to still be in my body. And so we did that. So so I at least didn't get denied that time.
Okay.
But yeah, it was I had that in with this piece, and I also, you know, the being the guy that always wants to keep his shirt on. I relate to that as well. So because that is such a deep part of me, I always try to be without my shirt on as much as possible. So I am here without my shirt on.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Yeah, is Ken still with us?
Yeah, I think Ken hopped off.
He had to hop off. Yeah.
Yeah. He unfortunately apparently couldn't stay. So.
Well, I just want to see if there are any other questions for you or anything else you want to say. We have a few minutes.
I just wanted to thank Rob and Ken in absentia and Alyssa for providing.
Oh yes, Alyssa,
a real female voice to the
yes.
And Alyssa and I have worked together in several readings, and we were actually doing a play together when COVID hit. We actually the lockdown hit exactly mid-run of a show of an evening of one acts we were doing. So it was nice to finally hear her say my words again, even though it was the stage directions. But they were fun stage directions. So.
They were, and thank you, Alyssa, for being a part of the event and creating that. Adding to the narrative.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, adding to the narrative in a very fundamental way. Carolyn has her hand up.
I just want to say a big thank you to Aaron for organizing this, for finding such wonderful plays and directors and actors. I'm really just blown away by the quality and the opportunities.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you for saying that. I'm lucky that, I have, such talented people at my resource, people that I knew, and then people like, Nicole that submitted their play, people that just sort of, or Scott, people that just sort of came to me. And, I think we're at this time where part of my reason for doing this series was to create this kind of online community of people interested, not just in LGBTQ theater, but just as, wanting to perform. And I've made that sort of the brand for this series. But I think, everyone's welcome to participate, and everyone has been participating, regardless of your gender identity or orientation. And I thank you, Carolyn, for saying that. And I feel, very lucky to have all of you participate, in all the audience that has supported us. So do we have any other comments before we say goodbye? Rose.
I always have a comment.
Good.
I found it really suspenseful, and I was hoping that they would get together at the end, but they didn't. And that was okay, the way he wrote it. I could relate to that too, but still I was hoping as it went along.
It's always one of the fundamental great things about good playwriting is the, that sense of hoping, wanting something to happen is what keeps us interested, particularly in romance, cases of romance. Okay, thank you, everyone. October 25th is our next program. We hope to see you then. Thank you all for supporting us, for joining us today. Again, happy National Coming Out Day. Be safe. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.